Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the East West Football Network. I am Jerry Martinez. Alongside me is Walter Stringer. He is currently the East West Football Network's draft analyst. He's actually the senior draft analyst. And today we are going to be covering what we like to call the zero blitz draft coverage, and we will be talking over the top wide receiver prospects. So, Walt, what do you got? What do you got in store for us?
Well, we're gonna take a look at the top three prospects for 2021, potential prospects. There are some underclassmen, and we're gonna compare those guys in contrast with the guys that went ahead of them, class ahead, which was Judy, Lamb, and of course Henry Ruggs.
Sweet. So, let's start off with the first one. Who's at top of the board right now?
Well, of course, atop of the board is the guy who's atop of everybody's board currently, Jamar Chase, LSU. Um, I'm not as high on him top four, top five wise as a lot of other people are, or as what I see on a lot of other draft analyst boards. But I do believe, in my estimation, he still has a lot to prove. We currently don't know if it was all Joe Burrow. Was it part him? Was the offensive scheme? Was it just everything coming together as a perfect storm last season? Um, I don't expect him to put up quite those anything close to actually to those numbers he put up last season. I think it's kind of irrational to expect that, but I do believe it's very possible that he could put up lesser numbers and be a better player and be a better prospect moving forward.
You know what? I have to agree with you. I've seen some draft boards. I've seen some big boards. We got Mel Kipers out there. We got all kinds of specialists in this. But when it comes to actually watching the game tape and studying the player, right? I do not want to take anything away from anybody that's actually playing the sport that we all love, right? Especially when we see somebody that with that talent. When you look at Jamar Chase, I mean, he had 80 receptions, he had 20 touchdowns. I think it was 1,700 yards receiving. So I mean, you're talking about some insane numbers last year. So yes, you're absolutely correct. I think with the departure of Joe Burrow, it is going to take some adjustment for him to get up to speed with his new QB. Obviously this is his year of eligibility. When we stack them up, last year we had C.D. Lamb, uh, and we had Jerry Judy. You picked your poison. They were 1A, 1B. I felt, to me, I kind of had the edge on CD Lamb just because of the tenacity that he plays with. I like Jerry Judy's footwork. I think it was supreme amongst what I've seen in a long time. And then Henry Ruggs was just a true. I mean, he was just a burner. And then we cannot count out, Chase's counterpart, right, which was Justin Jefferson. So when you look at those four names, where would you say from all the tape that you studied on him, where would he land amongst those four players that we just mentioned right now?
Jamar Chase.
Yes, Jamar Chase ranked up against CeeDee Lamb, Jerry Judy, Henry Ruggs, and Justin Jefferson. Where would he fall if they were all in the same draft class?
I would have Chase second to CeeDee Lamb.
Wow.
I think
So
Judy was. I think Judy is a superior route runner to everybody else, but I believe the other guys do a whole lot more things better than he does. And prime example, when Ruggs went where he went last year, the Raiders took him because he was a weapon. And I think in this day and age in the NFL, everybody wants a weapon. I do believe that he's going to be very good in Denver because I think getting open is a lost art. Everybody wants a big wide receiver who can make contested catches, but what's better than the contested catch? Getting open. So an open guy is a quarterback's best friend. Of course, we know that. So I just believe Chase in general. I just also question: is he a high caliber athlete moving forward to the next level?
with that being said, everybody loves him, and some people don't. and it's because we all seen some whiffs. Who would be your player comp for Jamar Chase?
There's a couple. I think he's very similar to Jarvis Landry, another former LSU Tiger.
That's a good one.
He draws a lot of comparisons to Anquan Bolden. You made a very solid comparison with Steve Smith. He's
Yeah.
got a lot of those guys mixed into him. I think DJ Moore also, who's currently in the NFL, is a decent comparison. So I see a guy who's a very dangerous number two,
Well,
and there's nothing wrong with that. Reggie Wayne got a Hall of Fame career off being a very dangerous number two. I just don't see an elite athletic talent.
I guess when you say it like that, I mean you're right. Reggie Wayne was he was I guess he was a two, but he played like a one. So I think that when you put it like that, it does make sense. I think he's at what 6'1", 200 pounds.
Yep.
His body type is unusual. He's a very muscular upper body, but he runs very strong. I
Yeah.
know when I said Steve Smith, I was just saying because of the tenacity he plays with. I don't know if they have the same attitude, but I'm just saying the tenacity, the way they run after the catch, right? They're running with purpose. They're running to, get in the end zone, try to get that first down. So, definitely it's kind of hard to stack them up. I think that last year's wide receiver crop was very unique, very special, but I mean, I think this year's crop is going to be just as good. So with that
Yeah.
said, who would you say would be after Jamar Chase?
Jalen Waddle.
Jalen
And I
Waddle.
believe Jalen Waddle is a very close number two. Very
Wow.
close. I think he's one big season away. That's why us having a college season is so crucial to all of these kids. I think he's one big season away in that offense from he's a weapon. He's the type of guy that will go as the number one wide receiver off the board come next April.
Wow.
He's this is what I have for him. Just off the top four of my scouting report so far. Very explosive player, very fast, very good in space, good vision. Not great vision, but good vision. No wasted movement, one cut, 60-yard touchdown. Guys like that are very valuable in this day and age in the NFL. And he's came a long way as a wide receiver too since he got to Alabama. And he's not just a gadget player. They put him in some tough situations and he gets his way out and he's straight to the house. So I'm very high on him. I'm higher on him actually than I am on Chase currently right
Wow. I'll tell you this much right now. What I see in him is, I think you said it best, right? When he makes his decision to make that cut, watch out. I mean, it's almost impossible for somebody to catch him from behind. I mean, what I see is just blazing speed with Waddle. I know he has a smaller frame, but what we've been seeing in the league lately, most notably Tyreek Hill, uh, being one of the more reliable ones with smaller statue, speed for days. Last year we saw Marquise Brown. He did have a couple of setbacks with his health, but obviously it was good for him because he understands how the league is, so now he knows how to prepare his body to be available to his team. So we do see that now. It looks like it is a copycat league, and who wouldn't want that to have their own Marquise Brown or Tyreek Hill? But yeah, he is a extremely fun player to watch. I will tell you this: when you look at his stats, they're not gaudy numbers, but man, having to play with Jerry Judy, Henry Ruggs, and play with Devonte Smith, right, which is another really good wide
now.
receiver. They really, though Devonte Smith and Waddle, they really put in work to put up those stats that they put up, regardless of the situation. They earned their stripes, and they earned every yard, every touchdown that they had last year. So yeah, you're talking about a very exciting player that's coming into the league if he declares, of course.
Yeah, I think it's very fair what they have going on at the program down in Alabama. Whoever works the hardest gets the field and they get the football. And for them to have Judy, Ruggs, and Smith, and him, and everybody gets the ball. Everybody gets the ball. I find it odd that Waddle will manage to get 13 touchdowns in 2 seasons
Yeah.
playing with those guys. And
No.
all of those guys make the most of their opportunity. I'm pretty sure you've seen enough film on Waddle now. Waddle makes more than anybody else. He for sure makes the most of his opportunities when he touches the football.
I'm gonna agree with you 110%. I mean, he really does. I mean, we've already set the bar pretty high with these two. Who would you say would be your third on your list today?
Um, Without a doubt, Rashad Bateman, wide receiver, Minnesota. Minnesota, I think also these three guys I kind of feel are interchangeable. I wouldn't be shocked if Bateman was the number one wide receiver off the board either.
Wow.
He's got the prototypical size. He runs every route. He has excellent ball skills. He's terrific in traffic. He has excellent concentration when pushed to the limit. I think he's an excellent football player. But just like with Chase, I question, is he a high-end NFL athlete?
I will tell you this: when I see him, they do use him in a very unique. The routes that he uses, it's very unique. The routes that they have him running. I think that this year, he his quarterback, everybody's watching his quarterback too, but he's the go-to guy this year. So we're gonna see exactly, what he could do if he could replicate last year's. He put up some good numbers last year. So definitely, I will say this, uh, man, it's just crazy to think that we have a wide receiver class like we did anything like last year's, right? And I do think that Bateman, he's a tough runner after the catch, and he's trying to score, on every play. So, this is a very exciting top three group right here. Um,
Yeah, I'm very excited about Bateman. I just want to see a few things athletically answered this year. I can't wait for. Hopefully, we get the game against Ohio State. We can see how he matches up against Sean Wade. But just in general, I think when you look at Bateman, the first thing I notice, he wins the majority of his one-on-one, which is huge for a number one wide receiver. Huge. He's got good swim moves. He's got good punches to get guys off of him. He's got a good arm slap. And once his fingertips touch the football, the ball comes in. And also in that offense, well, helping Tanner Morgan helps out a lot also. But
yeah, it
I
does.
think they do an excellent job of taking advantage of his one-on-one opportunity. And whenever he gets free releases, he gets the football.
Yeah, he does. So with the top three, we're not gonna go we're gonna keep some people guessing, but let's talk about some other wide receiver prospects that maybe people uh maybe have been putting to the back, or maybe don't get don't are not too familiar with their names. Who do you have on mind?
One guy, Tylen Wallace from Oklahoma State, uh, watching film of him yesterday. And the funny thing is, I was actually watching film on the Iowa State tight end, and I ended up watching some film of him, and just in general, but not necessarily him, but it got me thinking about him because he wasn't playing, but it got me thinking about him. And I just hope that if he can prove he's healthy, I think this season, this off season coming up, going into the new year, I really believe pro days are going to be more important this year than any other draft. I think pro days and the combine is pretty much all these kids are going to have. And for him, it may end up being all he has, but he's another guy, plays bigger than his size. He's 6'1, 205, excellent hands, great in traffic. They're the wave of the future.
Yeah, I honestly, when I look at him, I cannot put a player comp on him. He's just unique because, man, I mean, we shared some tape between each other, and oh my goodness, he just had that cornerback and just flipped that cornerback, and the safety read it, but man, he went up there and caught that ball in the end zone with strong hands. It's just real
Mhm.
hard. If you could put a player comp on him, who would you say?
Uh, the only guy that kind of struck a resemblance to him with me was probably Marty Booker.
Oh,
I think he's a better player than Marty Booker,
oh
but
wow.
Booker was another guy, long arms, big hands, 6 foot, stocky build, could catch everything, strong. Um, yeah, Booker is a pretty decent comp, I think.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I mean, it's just one of those things that it's just one of those things. I mean, he's a fun player. It's unfortunate because of the whole ACL, and of course, like you said, I mean, we don't know if there's going to be a college season. I mean, we'd hope so, but if not, a lot of these players, when they do decide to declare, the pro days and I hate to say it, but the 40 times are really gonna, help their stocks either skyrocket or kind of hurt them, and it's unfortunate, right? Because I always I've I remember when I got into this game, I remember there would always tell me trust your eyes, trust the tape, and so that's one thing that I've tried to do, and I try my best not to hinder too much on speed because a lot of times you see these players are a lot. I mean, when they're running, especially with a breakaway, I mean, they look a lot faster than the 40 times that they put up. So I think that sometimes those numbers get either, they give scouts give that the a 40 time too much significance over the actual player themselves. Is there any other players out there that we should keep an eye out?
Um, a guy right from here where I'm from in Detroit, Michigan, Nico Collins.
Nico
He was
Collins.
pretty much for the last couple of years considered the other guy next to Donovan Peoples
Right.
Jones, who is currently in the NFL now with the Cleveland Browns, and Tariq Black, who was also another former Alabama recruit a couple years ago who chose Michigan over Alabama, who was currently in Texas now, who transferred this offseason. But in my opinion, I've always felt Nico was the most pro ready. Well, not necessarily pro ready, but he was the best pro prospect out of those three. He possesses the typical size you want. He's 6'4", he's 222 pounds. I'm pretty sure he's gonna run somewhere in the low 4.5, somewhere around that 4.56 range. Very strong, great body control. He's a jump ball nightmare. He's better on in the intermediate routes than people give him credit for. He eats up a lot of yards, and I think hopefully for his benefit here, because I'm a fan, biasly, I'm a fan. I hope here in Michigan we can get at least adequate quarterback play
Hmm.
so Nico can put up the numbers I think he's going to need. I don't want to see Nico become an afterthought, but I do believe that once the off season comes and it's time for him to have his pro day, and hopefully he take care of his body also. I think Nico will climb up some draft boards.
Yeah. No, I would have to agree. I mean, even with it's tough, right? I mean, we it's tough playing the quarterback position. It's a tough game. But you could tell. I mean, him, Donovan, People Jones, but especially him. I think he had over 750 yards. Uh, receiving. I think he put up over 10 TDs. I mean, he fought
He
for
was he
everything.
was their most dependable threat.
Yeah, I
Period.
mean, he fought for everything he could. So, like you said,
Yeah,
if they could solidify the quarterback position, oh man, watch out. He's a name to keep an eye on. I know that
yeah.
I know me and you have been back and forth with a special player out of Florida State. Um I don't know if you want to share him with the rest,
Tamorian
right?
Terry. I pronounced his name right, didn't I? His first name Tamorian.
Tamari and Terry. Yeah. So he goes by he go
Tamorian Terry.
yeah, he goes by Scary Terry. So yeah, I think he's what 6'4", about 204, right? Or around there.
Yeah, he's out of that AJ Green build.
Yeah, but there's a big difference between AJ Green and that's the one thing
He,
that I remember when we talk about. I was like, I said I cannot put a player comp on this player because he's so unique. So a lot of people, some may not know who he is. I'm pretty sure some people do. Florida State's one of the most popular collegiate teams, but it's insane because I mean, he's just his breakaway speed, his stride. Once he gets going, I mean, he is gone, and nobody's catching him from behind. And he has strong
Yeah.
hands, and he uses his body to catch, to catch balls that are contested. So I think that that's another name that maybe people should be keeping an eye out for. If of course, I love to be optimistic. So let's just say there is a collegiate season. Um, I believe that if there is, it's going to be one towards the latter part of the year, and people will get to see who he is. If not, watch out in the NFL. If he gets under the right coaching system, man, he's going to be somebody you got to wreck with. I think that we had mentioned somebody like DK Metcalf, how he's just a monster and he just took over the storm. He's not quite a DK Metcalf because DK Metcalf is just like you said,
I think DK is a specimen.
he's a specimen. I mean, he's just
I think,
com- completely different body type, but same
yeah, I
height.
think Terry.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think Terry is probably. I would compare him in that, and I'm an old school guy. I always when I think about comparisons, I never want to just always reach for what's in front of me because a player can also be similar to someone who came out 10 years ago, 20 years ago. And a couple of guys I actually mentioned I thought about were Marcus Robinson, the former Chicago Bears wide receiver, and also Jermaine Crowell, the former Detroit Lions wide receiver. He had that same type of build as both of those guys, and they both were pretty much like I don't. They were pretty much one trick pony. And I think currently, right now, that's what he is.
yeah,
But you kick the ball to Jermaine Crowell on a fly route, and it was 53 yards. Marcus Robinson, 55 yards. And I think he's that type of weapon right now.
yeah.
Currently, he's just a weapon to me. I want to see him develop also.
Yeah, because I think he he maybe runs what, three routes, and two of them predominantly
Right.
in the game. So yeah, I mean, there is some refinement. I'm not saying he's a finished product, but I mean just raw. I mean just a
Oh,
raw,
definitely.
like a raw athletics uh you know player. I think that, man, he has all the tools to become something special if he could just refine his game all around. I mean, we got the list goes on and on, but we're gonna go ahead and keep you guys guessing. Um, so, is there any final thoughts, Walter?
Um, just hopefully give us a college football season. But even if we don't get a college football season, can you imagine how crazy the next draft process is going to be when all everybody has to base things off of is the same film we have and private workouts? That's if we get private workouts by then. I just want some football.
We all do. And the good thing is that the NFL, it looks like we are going forward with it, especially with the protocols that the NFL has put in place. Looks like all the players are on board. So super excited that, we're going to get this opportunity. Of course, here at East West Football Network, it's always about family first, and the safety of each other. And we try to take care of each other, and we wish nothing but the safety of all the players in both college and in the pros. So, definitely, yes. Let's get some football started. But thank you all for joining us here on the Zero Blitz Scouting. Have a good one.